start of a new week. Doug loves Mondays. He likes to seize the week or something like that is his phrase. I don't know what it was. It wasn't that. But it was something related. So that's good. Let's see. I'm going to let Doug into the Instagram here and greet the regulars, hopefully, unless they've all stopped watching the show over the weekend, decided to. But I don't think that'll happen. So let's see. There's Doug. He's here. Hello, Doug. How's it going?
Hello, Matt. Happy Monday. How's it going?
Going pretty well. It's a big week. Big week for me because we get a dog, our foster dog, tomorrow. So that will be that'll be nice. Everyone's looking forward to that. Should hopefully be better experience than the puppies were. I mean, everyone loved it. I shouldn't say we all. I didn't, but the family enjoyed having the puppies, although they were a tremendous stress. But so this one, I think everyone's really looking forward to because we think it's going to be like the puppies, but without the stress and just like have a nice normal dog. So that should be good.
Do you have like an estimate as to how long? I mean, could it just be a couple days and someone happens to adopt it?
Yeah, I think it is very possible. Yeah, but it seems like the likely amount they give is usually a few weeks. Like we were talking about some upcoming travel we have in 2 months or a month and a half, and they're like, oh yeah, it'll probably be adopted by then. So hopefully that's the case. But I don't know. I'm not going into these unless I think there's some chance we'll keep this dog forever. And that's I don't know. Just I don't want that, but you have to keep open that possibility.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I think as it gets older, every year you have it, the chances of it getting adopted go down. So
it's like,
and I'm sure if we had it for a year, we wouldn't be adopting anymore.
I was about to make a joke about that's the approach I went with, like with having a kid, but decided maybe that was inappropriate. So
I like it. Good approach. All right. Mr. Jeffrey says good morning. Dale Stevens says good morning. Lucy B says good morning. These are the regulars I was looking for. Plant-Based Space is over on Instagram. I think it's a she, always likes Doug's hair. Well, no, did one time like Doug's hair.
I'd say she always likes it, right? Just maybe doesn't comment.
Just one time she said it, right? Yeah, we don't know. Okay,
it's been fun. The Discord has been booming all weekend long. We got people sharing recipes, sharing their fitness, lots of runs, lots of cool things happening on the fitness sphere. And I think my favorite comment, let's see if I can pull it up here. Not comment, but kind of funny little tidbit was Steven shared that he's going to a wedding this weekend, and the wedding venue asked, quote, "How vegan is he?" Okay. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Vegan is sort of a binary thing, right? Either you are or not. Whereas if you're plant-based, then there's how plant-based are you?
Yeah, there you go. That's true.
All right, I'm putting up the link to the Discord in the YouTube. By the way, if you're on Instagram, reminder, and in general, reminder, we do the show every day at 11 a.m. Eastern time, sponsored by Compliment, unaffected by daylight savings. We don't change the time just because daylight savings changed. Good. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, but if you're on Instagram, it's also on YouTube. It's at youtube.com/nomeatathlete. And you click on the live tab and you'll see us there talking. You can also just go to YouTube and Google or type in the search Plant-Based Morning Show. You'll get this show. But we are presented every day by Compliment, which is the company that we own/work for. So thank you, Compliment, for sponsoring this. That's lovecompliment.com if you ever want to go check that out and support and get some of the best plant-based supplements you can get.
Maybe real quick little pitch for the Discord. A few things that are happening this week. I am committing to going into the what do they call it? The Hangout or something?
The voice chat room. I don't know what the name of ours is.
Basically just like an open room, and I'll just turn on my mic and hang out and let everybody know. And if anybody wants to come and hang out with me and talk in an unrecorded, informal way, and with other people, not just with me, but with other people as well, then I think that could be a lot of fun. I'm going to commit to doing that a few times this week. And then also, we are sharing a bunch of discounts to Compliment products, or we will be sharing more. There's only one in there now, but that'll be a regular theme to take care of our Plant-Based Morning Show community here. So be sure to look for those as well when you join the Discord.
Question is, what's more valuable, a really great compliment discount or a chance that Doug Hay goes open, Mike is open in the lounge, and you might be one-on-one. You might be able to catch him one-on-one for a few minutes.
I don't know. I mean, that's up to the user, right? I mean, I can't make that judgment call with you, but I will say, maybe if no one is there, I'm just going to start playing the uke and have a little private concert.
There you go. Well, Discord is set up nicely for its video game platform first and foremost, so it's nicely set up for streaming. So I may go stream some FIFA or this new. I've been playing this new NFT based game called Sunflower Land, where it's like a Farmville simulator, but you own all the assets you're farming and getting, and like the money in the economy. It's like real money. So I'm gonna stream a little of that.
Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to not paying any attention to that when it goes live.
So anyway, that's all. NoMadeAthlete.com/Discord is how you can get in that if somehow you haven't yet. You really should. That is now the lifeblood of the morning show, as far as I'm concerned. That's where you go to really connect, and where the ideas are going to be generated for this show. Right? We're going to put up a questions channel that you can ask us. We're going to put up a channel where we'll figure out what the question of the day is to ask you. Lots of things can happen. So Discord, if you're into the show, that's where you want to be. Okay, a couple little more business items to take care of here. A plant-based space says, can you talk about the greens powder? Do you two use it? I actually was at my dad's this weekend in Asheville, and he had greens powder in his closet. I forgot that I had set him up with a subscription, not his closet, but his pantry. And he's putting that in his smoothies every day. That would be one great use, just throw it in a smoothie. But it works great in water. That's the thing. Most of those greens powders really taste bad in water. And the problem is artificial sweeteners. Like I don't really like Athletic Greens just the way it tastes. It's just way too, I shouldn't say artificial. It's not artificial. It's like, it's natural sweetener, which is stevia. That's primarily what a lot of those use. Maybe they use monk fruit or something, but that taste always bothers me. So what I love about ours is like, there's very, very little of that. So little that you can't really taste it. And there's a little bit of actual apple sweetener, right, Doug? Is that correct? Is that where the sweetness comes from?
That's right. From apple juice. That's right.
So that, I don't know, that one just tastes good to me. So I like it for that. But it's a good, it's a good extra serving of greens each day. It's not what you should rely on as your greens, but it's a nice way to get an extra serving. And it has 5 things in it, not 95. So they're in amounts that are actually make a difference.
It's got 50% of your RDA for iron, which is big.
Like
I use it pretty regularly, several times a week. I do it in water or sometimes mixed with hydrate or electrolyte drink, just to give a nice little morning boost. But kind of maybe the bigger thing is that both of my kids like it, and that's it's just nice to be able to give them that every now and then too, to make sure they're getting extra greens.
Yeah, definitely. So there you go. That's a little advertisement for Daily Greens. Thank you for Plant-Based Space for being a planted base. Right? She was a plant. It was as if she was a plant in the audience to ask that question so that we could talk about it. But no, that's not the case. Anyway, go to the Discord, and chances are there'll be a Daily Greens discount in there at some point. All right. So anyway, Doug, weekend, you mentioned running or people running. I did a run in Asheville and it killed me. I thought I've been running once a week here or something when I'm not doing a weight training day, and mostly a flat ground, pretty slow, usually just like 20 minutes or something. And I thought, okay, I'm kind of in decent aerobic shape at least. I ran in Asheville for like, I don't know, probably 30 minutes, and I'm still sore. 2 days later, my legs are sore from that run. So it's just a different terrain there than I've been running on. So it was eventful. Felt like I actually did a good solid workout, rather than my typical run days are kind of just like get something in. So that was good. Otherwise, just nice little visit over there, but nothing, no big eventful stuff for me to talk about. I don't think. Made some nice pasta one day.
Nice.
That's it.
I went for my first. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I didn't talk about daylight savings. I wanted to remind everyone that daylight savings is bad for people's health, and this is the week when there's an increase in heart attacks, because this is when you spring forward, everyone loses an hour of sleep, and the heart attacks go up. So I guess if you're someone who's susceptible or at risk, that extra bit of stress from the sleep cycle change, especially in this direction, when it feels like you lose an hour, it makes people die. So that's not good. And I think there is a similar but not as strong effect the opposite direction when we fall back. But I'm not sure about that one. So don't quote me on that. But I know there are a lot of people who don't like daylight savings. It does seem like it's kind of going away, or that the people are starting to revolt.
So I didn't mean to laugh at the idea of people dying. It was just kind of the way you said it was it was funny. But man, I believe it. Katie and I were joking this morning because our alarm went off. Very rarely do both of us sleep until the alarm goes off on a school day, and all the kids and everyone. Like it's kind of rare that the whole house is still asleep. And the alarm went off, and Katie looked at me and she's like, "It feels like it's the middle of the night," and it really did. I mean, it felt so early. When the alarm went off this morning, and it's gonna screw me up for all week probably. So
yeah, that's tough. Neil Ellen points out increase in vehicle accidents too. Not at all surprising, right? That could be the direct result of less sleep. So and Lucy B says in How Not to Die, he says scrap daylight savings. Not surprised. I think I've probably seen that in fact. So yeah, I mean, I've never been an anti-daylight savings person, but when I hear about all this stuff, it kind of makes sense why we shouldn't do it. I mean, it just seems whacked that we think our body's just like when sleep cycle and all that's so important that we just think we're just going to shift it by an hour, and then just carry on normally.
And twice a year too. I mean, nothing happens twice a year.
Right. So anyway, that's that. So what were you saying about your run? Oh yeah, and by the way, once you're done telling us about the run, go ahead and announce what your ultramarathon thing is, because you haven't done that yet, and that was supposed to be end of last week.
Oh man, I got to get my schedule pulled up. I had it pulled up on Friday and we forgot. Yeah, so I went on my first true long run in a few months, and that it was somewhere between 15 and 16 miles, depending on what watch you pay attention to. But Matt, you're not even listening to me, are you? You're just
I'm listening.
Okay.
No, I'm listening. I saw someone.
But it was it was so good. We went on a real mountain run in the rain that turned into ice up top, and it was just like epic weather. Dodging all the bushes and stuff had been weighted down by the ice because they were like literally covered in ice. And so you're kind of like hunched over, kind of like knocking branches out of the way so you don't get whacked in the face with ice branches. And it just felt like a good adventure run, and just reminded me how much I really love running in the mountains. So it was good.
All right. Why was that your first run in a long time, or a long run in a long time? You just hadn't, because you didn't have something on the schedule?
Yeah, I just hadn't prioritized it. Or if I did, I would go out for like 10 miles on the road or something like that. But this just, it was 4 hours. Lots of elevation gain, kind of on some new trails, and I don't know, it felt like my first kind of true adventure run in a while.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. All right, so tell us about your goal race.
Okay, so I've got a couple goal races here mapped out for the year a little bit. Really centering around 4 events. I'm going to keep this short. The first one in May is going to be a self-supported run that I wanted to do a big link up of different ridge lines. In June, I'm going to run, I think, the 12-hour. I'm debating between the 6 and the 12-hour of the Black Mountain Monster, which is something that you've done. Nice. I've done as well.
Something you have won in the past.
Something I've won in the past, a 24-hour before. It's a 3-mile loop, or a 5K. I think it's a 5K loop now. That you just run over as many times as you can for 6, 12, or 24 hours. And I'm really excited about that. That'll be kind of a good way to test some distance and endurance in early summer. And then a late summer, another self-supported one that I'm doing with a buddy, probably in August or September. Don't have a date for that one yet. We do have a date for the May one, which is good. And then it'll round it all out at the end of the year, December 6th, Beast of the East, 50-miler, which is a tough one, actually down towards you in Gastonia. On the, Kings Mountain. Are you familiar with that?
I know Two Kings Casino nearby. So
there you go. It's perfect.
Probably the name of the mountain.
Maybe we can do a little
Stay
gambling
up all night
afterwards.
at the casino the night before.
Or that. Yeah. I was thinking after, but whatever. So I feel like I've got a good not doing 100-miler this year. But some challenging, at least 50-mile races, and then some self-supported adventure runs. It feels good to have a calendar put together.
Definitely, that's quite a calendar. I didn't know that you even did that. That you planned like a whole year like that.
Well, I didn't intend to really. I was just planning to find one race, and then just kind of came together. So there you go.
And did it come together because you found the one at the end and you said, here's how I can best prepare for that and what races I can do along the way?
Yeah, because I found the one in December that I decided I wanted to run, and I was like, I can't set a goal for December now. Like, I mean, you could do that, but I've got to have some stuff
hard to stay on
in between. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good. Well, good for you. I like to hear that. Yeah, that's good. Self-supported. That sounds hard to get up for. It sounds hard to me. I've never done something like that where I'd say like, this is different than a training run. It's actually a race I'm doing or a thing that's on my calendar. But it's just self-supported. It just sounds hard to do. It sounds like a long run basically. Except
I'm treating it. Well, I mean, it is kind of like a long run, right? I mean, it's not like I'm going after a certain time or anything, but it'll be longer than I would do for a typical long run. It'll be at least 30 miles. I don't know exactly how long, but at least 30 miles. And I'm gonna have to, it's gonna take a lot of planning to get all the gear and map and or course and everything out. And I'm gonna do it with a buddy. So that's the other part.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Good. Apologize for sounds right now. It's nail pops are being rehammered in my house. They didn't give us a time, but it's happening now. So just repeated banging. Yeah. Also, my lighting is really terrible, and my face looks like it's so white. But I don't know what's going on. It's like kind of a cloudy day, so I don't really understand it. Good. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear all that. That's exciting. We will follow along. Hopefully, in the Discord, you can give us even more nuggets, pictures from runs and whatever else you might do. So glad to hear all that. Okay. I don't have anything else, I don't think, other than show content. So we can jump in.
That's it.
There's only a very small, short weather report today, but nonetheless, I'm going to give it to you. So here we go. Number one, first and foremost, Starbucks has officially lifted the vegan milk surcharge from its outlets in Germany. That's a big deal, bringing price parity to its drinks menu. PETA's been pushing for this for a long time. Consumers have not liked this. Pro-vegan organizations have been saying the same thing. So everyone wants to get rid of that dairy-free milk, including here in the U.S. I don't know why they haven't yet in the U.S., but at least it's happening somewhere. Germany seems to always lead the way. So that is cool. And then second of all, PETA's, both of our headlines here are PETA, and both are from Plant-Based News. They've got a new TV ad that they ran over the weekend on the Sci-Fi channel, SYFY. Doug, I have a feeling that's not a channel frequented by you.
No, it isn't. It is not.
No. Nor is it one frequented by me. But they did it, and it's a commercial where they warned parents not to let their kids be The Last of Us, which I think is a reference, they said, to the show The Last of Us, which also not something I've ever heard of. That's an HBO show, so I don't know why this advertising happened on the Sci-Fi channel. But anyway, basically it was like a bad parent shaming ad, and said, are you a bad parent? And then it showed like an apocalyptic scene, and eventually said, you were always telling me what to do, but you never said don't eat meat or dairy. Now look what you've done. This is the kids' words would be saying that. So anyway, I think it aired 3 or 4 times over the weekend. Didn't hear about it till this morning, which doesn't mean it wasn't significant, but I don't know. It's an odd tack to take to just say, basically, you're a bad parent if you don't raise your kids vegan. Hopefully it was more tongue-in-cheek than that. I don't really know. I meant to watch the video. I had it and I put it in the show notes. I meant to watch it before we started today, but I didn't. So did you watch the video, Doug?
I did watch it. Maybe we should watch it. Should we stream it live?
Yeah, if you're able to. Can you make it run on the screen and put the volume up?
Let's give it a shot.
Right.
Volume.
I'll just need to be quiet while you put volume on, I think.
Will you unplug the so it's coming out of your computer maybe?
Oh, you need my volume to go into the thing?
I don't know. I don't know how to do volume.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that either. I mean, we'd have to sync it and put it in the
street.
We hear that.
Don't talk with strangers online. Don't do this and don't do that because you could get hurt. But you never said, don't eat meat or dairy. Now look what you've done.
Animal agriculture.
All right.
So The Last of Us.
All right, I gotta get you plugged back in here. Okay, go ahead, Doug.
The Last of Us is like a record-breaking HBO show. It's huge.
What about that?
I do know about that. I haven't seen it, but I do know about it.
Ed?
Well, it's an apocalyptic movie, or show. I actually don't know much about it, but I have heard of it because it's been making much headlines. So, but the commercial, this commercial is weird. We missed the first part of it, but I'll leave it streaming in the with the sound off, so people can kind of watch it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like appealing to people to go vegan is like shaming parents is not the not the right move.
That's what I thought. Like anyone who tells me you're a bad parent and that's how they start the conversation, I'm not really going to listen to what they have to say. It's just not the way to get through to me. More broadly speaking, how come every vegan ad that goes up, we have this feeling? We're like, well, that was weird, and that I'm surprised they did it that way. It's just like Oatly does this thing, and we know how I feel about Oatly and their ads.
Mm-hmm.
We had the commercials where it was saying, "Would you rather this or this?" And they put up these like negative reviews of like, "I'd rather eat a pile of
yeah, right,
whatever than eat that." And then they show the picture of their food. It's like, can't we just like look at what ads kind of, and maybe this is what works, but like, can't we just run like normal ads that sort of like show the benefits of the product and make it kind of exciting and
yeah,
instead of like all this weird stuff? And I guess you have to get attention somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm not really arguing for that. Like that's almost never the right move. Like just run a normal ad. But these are just so like, I don't know. They don't feel good at all. These
no,
things.
nothing about this feels good to me in the slightest bit. And like, I don't know. I mean, if the parents aren't vegan, like maybe you should be talking about how like a family can enjoy a vegan meal together. And, and there's not was it a PETA ad? Do you remember there was like where like the chicken became part of, or the turkey became part of the Thanksgiving dinner? We liked that one.
Yes. I think I didn't fully get it, but you liked it, and I was fine with it. It wasn't strange. It didn't make me feel weird.
Yeah, it didn't make you feel bad, right? And that might have been a PETA ad or some sort of animal rights group
I forget what that was. Right.
Yeah, exactly. A plant-based space on Instagram says show people thriving, and I think you can show families and kids thriving on a plant-based diet, and that's a better approach than the apocalyptic world where this kid is like by themselves in a diner.
Right.
It just makes me feel uneasy. But maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe uneasy is the right thing.
Yeah, my first thought was like maybe the problem is what we're trying to sell. Like maybe this is this isn't really selling a product. This is like telling someone change their lifestyle, and it's not what is the norm for sure. So do this thing that's against the norm, because it's way better in a lot of ways. So like it's not a typical product to sell, but you, like I said, because it's way better in a lot of ways, you think that wouldn't be too hard to convey. And like the plant-based space and show people thriving. I was like, what if you ran an ad about a Scott Jurek ad, right? And say, this guy's done this and this and this, and he's run all these races and he's won this many times and he's dominated all these things. And people are like, wow, that's a freak athlete. And then at the end, you just say he's vegan, right? Like that's kind of, I mean, that would be like intriguing, I think, to people, even if you have no interest in that at all. So like, because there's the health side, I know the animal side and even the environment side, like that's asking people to buy into something for a benefit that isn't really their benefit. It's a benefit for something else or something beyond them. And that's hard, right? And unfortunately, that's not something most people are going to go for. But the health and the thriving, like, I don't know, that's pretty exciting. And in this case, you don't even need to be scientific, right? Ads don't have to be proven scientific, right? We don't need to say that, plant-based diet beyond all doubt makes you a better athlete or more fit. You just dramatize an athlete story. You don't need to lie. You just show it, and then.
Well, I mean, you could. So I'm thinking like this is about parents, right? Like you could have like a family in a doctor's office, and the doctor, is telling you to do this, that, and that, and is like the parents' little thought bubble. I'm writing an ad here. Thought bubble comes up, and the parents like, can my vegan kid thrive on a plant-based diet? And then you have cuts to your son Holden like tearing up the soccer field and all these kids doing really cool things and like all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, my kid can thrive on a plant-based diet. and then everybody like goes and hugs animals and lives a happy existence forever. Right. So I don't know.
Would it get any attention though, or would it not? I think it would. I think people would be into that. I mean, I don't know. It seems.
Yeah, if it was done creatively and it was some comedy in there and everything, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
I don't either.
So I don't the Last of Us. I don't know the storyline. So maybe there's a kid that's the center of the story and they're on their own. Maybe that's kind of what this whole thing is all about.
Yeah, that's true. We could be missing that angle entirely.
Yeah, but all right, enough of the replay of the.
Okay. All right. Good. So that's the news. That's the weather report. Nothing more than that. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. All right. Very little from Best Life Online today. A couple zodiac signs. A couple. What happens if you don't drink water for a month? Remember, that's one of their other angles. Is
if you don't drink water for a month?
I think it was for a day, actually, not a month.
Okay.
We know what happens if you don't drink for a month. Yeah.
Yeah. But doctors say you might die if you don't drink water for a month.
Right. Yeah, along with doctors say, or according to doctors at the end of their headlines, they like zodiac signs, and they like to say what happens if you don't do something that is considered standard health or hygiene practice. What happens if you don't do that? So they have what happens if you don't drink your water for a day. But we're not going to get into that. Not today, anyway. Instead, we've got something more substantive from Veg News, and it is the 5 healthiest cooking oils for vegan diets. And I like this one. My friend, actually, from college, best man at my wedding, in fact, texted me recently and said, have you ever done like a good oil breakdown on No Meat Athlete or something? And I said, no, we haven't really ever done that, like the different ones and compare them. And I read this article and I thought maybe this could be that. And it kind of is, but it leaves me with so many questions still. And it made me realize that's why we've stayed away. Like there's just a lot of confusion around oil, and I don't have the answers either. Which ones are good, which ones aren't. Does the smoke point matter? Of course it does. That's often used in saying when to use which oil when. But I don't like, I know when deep frying what the oil temperature is because you measure it as part of that. But when I just saute something in my pan, like I have no idea how hot that's getting. So I don't know. Is olive oil, which has a lower smoke point than others, is that okay for that use? Or is even, light sauteing going to get above the smoke point of olive oil? I don't really know. It doesn't start smoking necessarily in the house unless you leave it on the pan too long, which happens now and then. Anyway, so there's that. And there's omega-3s versus 6s. So this article can help us a little bit with that, even if not answering all the questions. So here we go.
Mr. Jeffrey has a funny comment about the headline.
Okay.
Would oil health be different for a non-vegan diet? It's funny that they specifically say for vegan diet. So this article from Veg News is the healthiest cooking oils for a vegan diet. I am imagining that is probably a SEO play more than trying to tell us communicate anything in the headline.
Right. Either SEO or just a niche thing, right? Make people see the article and say, okay, that must be for me because I'm vegan. We've seen this move before by Veg News and others.
We've made this move plenty of times before.
For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So they never rank things, Veg News, I've noticed. When they give you a list of 5, things are not in order. They're just 5 of them. But I guess these are the 5 best out of all of them. They're just not ordered. Number 1, avocado oil, which I see a lot at times. I think people eating avocado oil, potato chips, for example, and kind of thinking it's healthy because it's avocado oil. It's not like you're just eating avocados and potatoes when you do this. That must be kept in mind. This is still deep frying that's happening. It's just happening with avocado oil, which is probably a better deep frying choice than olive oil is because of the smoke point, which we talked about earlier. So they point out that in each of these oils, they give you the smoke point, 480 degrees for avocado oil. So let's just provide a little context because I'm not going to go through every oil here. Let's just look at the smoke points first, and then we'll come back. So avocado, 480 degrees, therefore good for high temperature.
Right on. So it says good for sauteing, roasting, baking, stir frying, shallow or deep frying.
Okay, good. So shallow frying, that's a good thing to know. That's what I was describing earlier. By the way, we should have given this background. The smoke point, of course, is the point at which the oil actually smokes, and you don't want that to happen because that's when the oxidation begins to happen and the creation of free radicals and the destruction of the fatty acids. It's not that it all exactly happens at the smoke point, but in general, you could think if the smoke point's higher, those things are going to be, those things will happen later in the oil. So That one's $4.80. Extra virgin olive oil smoke point $3.25 to $4.10. I've noticed a lot of like Italian recipe classic old ones that I like to cook when I do deep fry, which is pretty rare. They always call for extra virgin olive oil, so I'm always a little surprised by that. But it's
why do you think it's such a variation? I mean, that's 100 degrees almost.
No idea. Yeah, it is a. Within why is olive oil? Why is there no so much uncertainty around it? That's what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know. That's a really good question. That is a huge range.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it depends on the type of oil. I mean, I guess we're talking specifically about extra virgin olive oil here. I don't know why it's not like all different classes of olive oil are being considered. So I don't know. Good question. Also, I don't know people who deep fry in extra virgin olive oil. I may have just said that, but I didn't mean that. I meant olive oil in general. I think typically you wouldn't use extra virgin olive oil for your deep frying. In fact, it seems like they don't even encourage cooking with it that much. It's such a precious thing. It should be just had for salads or dressing of things. Anyway,
so that along those lines, Rachel on YouTube asks, I'm still confused on if I should be cooking with olive oil versus extra virgin olive oil.
Okay. Is that Rachel Dom? Yes. Rachel, tell me if you got your book. It was shipped off last week. A little late, I know, but it was signed, literally signed, sealed. I don't know if it was delivered though. So please let us know. Yeah. So Rachel, I think, I don't know. I personally think you don't need to be cooking with extra virgin. I think whatever benefits there are to extra virgin, once you cook with it, you probably make it the same as it would be if it was regular olive oil. So you're just spending extra money. Now, it does tend to have extra like solid compounds in it, which are partly attributed to the health of the extra virgin olive oil is partially attributed to because it's a little bit more like whole food because it has those in there. But I don't know. You're cooking food in it, so you're putting some whole food in there. And then who knows how many of those solids make it into the food itself. I don't really know. So I think it doesn't matter. But I also don't know anyone who like saves the $1 on the bottle or the $2 on the bottle and just like has a separate olive oil for cooking and then their extra virgin olive oil they use for other stuff.
Yeah.
That's what
I was about to ask. Do you when you're sauteing something, are you using just olive oil or extra virgin olive oil?
I use extra virgin olive oil because we just buy some bottle of it that's $10 and we just always get that one. But I do sometimes get really good olive oils. Like my mom got me a subscription for my birthday. That's like these extra special ones. I wouldn't cook with those. It would be a waste. Sure. They have different flavors and things. Yeah. So
you just finish with those, right? Dressings.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You don't
avocado toast.
Yeah, perfect.
Sprinkle it on.
Exactly. Perfect example. Rachel did not get the book, but she'll let me know when she does. So good to know. I don't know. That was shipped early last week. So we'll see. I know. It's priority mail as well, but we'll see. Okay, so back to the story here. We were just going to summarize smoke points, so we'll continue to do that. Cold pressed walnut oil, 320 degree smoke point. So that's the very bottom, that's below the olive oil range even. So extremely low there, which is probably why I've never really heard of anyone cooking with walnut oil. Canola oil, 400 degrees. They don't have grapeseed here, which I'm surprised about because that's kind of like what I think of as the healthy person's frying oil with higher temperature. So we'll have to Google that separately. And then sesame oil, 410 degrees. I had always heard you don't cook with sesame oil, and you shouldn't. They clarify here and say there's a light neutral oil, and there's toasted sesame oil. And you don't really, I don't think you cook with the toasted oil so much. But either one, I think if you cook too much, it will result in burnt tasting food, which kind of sounds to me like oxidation happening, but I don't really know. So anyway, I never tend to cook with sesame oil, maybe throw it into a stir fry at the very end, but I would tend just to drizzle it on the top, which I think in general is the best bet. If you can get away with putting the oil on the food at the end rather than cooking with it, probably a better idea. And then finally, they mentioned coconut oil. Unrefined has a high smoke point of 400 degrees, but the unrefined 350 degrees. The unrefined, very limited use, I think, because it tastes and smells like coconut. So like you really have to put it on things only that you want to taste that way. And then, of course, the saturated fat content of coconut oil makes it a debatable choice for sure when you can get the same smoke point from others that have 400, like canola or avocado, which is 480. Sounds like that would be generally a better choice than coconut oil for high temperature cooking.
Have you ever used walnut oil?
I've had little bottles of it before, and I don't know what it was for. I have a feeling it was just for going on at the end of something.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Why?
I'm just curious. Never even considered purchasing it when I see it at the store.
But you do see it sometimes in those little, like the square clear bottles is where I got it. All right. So I wanted to look up the smoke point of grapeseed oil because that is one that I think a lot of people like. My friend Terry Walters, author of several good cookbooks, she always says grapeseed oil. So 420 degrees is what Bon Appetit tells me is the smoke point of grapeseed, which is moderately high compared to the other ones we heard.
Certainly higher than olive oil.
Yeah, I think it's higher than even the upper limit of olive oil. Yeah, so that's what we use when we cook, stir fry or something, especially if we don't want it to taste like olive oil, because olive oil does have a flavor. So we'll tend to use grapeseed in those other cases. So that's what we do. We have those two oils, and that's what we use.
We have olive oil or extra virgin olive oil, which is what we use 95% of the time.
Yep.
We have coconut oil that we use every once in a while for certain dishes that call for it, and we have sesame oil, but very, very rarely use it.
Very rarely, because it doesn't go on Mexican food.
That's right. It doesn't go in Mexican food. That's right. J.H. Groover says, I've heard that seed oils are generally worse for your health. Any comment on that?
No, I don't know anything about that, but that's an interesting point.
That's the big thing. That's the huge thing right now. Is a lot of people are bashing seed oils. If a processed food has sesame or like sunflower seed oil or something like that, then it's a no-go.
Interesting. Okay, I've never really heard of that, but I will start to view life through that lens and see what happens.
I think that more generally, if you're eating that processed cracker, then that's probably worse than the sesame oil, just based on the sugar and everything else that's probably added in there. But no hate on processed crackers. I'm a processed cracker kind of guy, but
yeah, right.
Anyway.
There you are. And canola is rapeseed oil, by the way. I've known that for a while. People don't like that. Aisha says coconut oil or canola oil origin. I think she's asking that. That's what I said. That's the rapeseed, which I don't know what a rapeseed is, but that's where it comes from. She says, I thought it was unhealthy because it doesn't come from natural fats really and extracted with hexane. I do hear that complaint often, or that concern often about canola. Canola, you buy it in the store and it's like this crystal clear liquid. And I always hear like they use bleaches and all these different things to make it get so clear. I don't know for sure, but that's what I hear. So I tend to stay away from canola. I keep it for like deep frying because it's cheap, and I'm not gonna put a gallon of expensive oil in the pan. A couple more things here.
Did you say what grape seeds are?
No, rapeseed. RAPE.
Oh, rapeseed.
That's what canola comes from, or canola oil is, and I don't know anything else about it. I never really thought about that though. Grapeseed oil comes from the seed of a grape, huh? That's what that is.
Yeah, I guess so.
Never thought about that. Okay. Mr. Jeffrey says, who was it on NMA Radio that suggested just putting a few sesame seeds in a pan to extract their oil, then using that pan to cook? I have never heard that, but I don't always do the interviews or often do the interviews there, so I don't know. Does that sound familiar to you, Doug?
It does not. No. Must have been one of the Matt interviews.
Yeah. Matt Resigno, who was my co-author, he was a registered dietitian on the first No Meat Athlete book. He was the co-author. He's a big fan of like using whole cumin seeds versus cumin, and you put that in the oil and extract the flavor, but it's not getting the oil from them. It's putting them in oil. And that was just a flavor thing. So I don't know. Interesting suggestion. I don't know if that works or not.
A Plant-Based Space on Instagram has a follow-up on the seed oils and says, yes, avoid seed oil like sunflower or safflower. And then says that those are processed oils that are being found in processed packaged foods a lot.
Okay, good. Lucy B points out here, all oils are low nutrient density and high calorie density. That is true. They are not a nutrient dense food, and they are high in calories. So you have that going against you. But this Veg News article goes to a lot of lengths to talk about the different omega-3 acids that are in them and how they also help transport other minerals, so that you can use them To me, it's still not a clear call that oil is a health food. I think it's associated with a lot of health. It's in healthy diets. Doesn't mean that those diets are healthier for including oil. Maybe they'd be healthier without them, or without it. So I don't know. I still think moderation with oils is good, but I don't know. I don't know where I stand. I don't think it's the terrible food I used to think it was. All right, a lot of comments here. So let's hit one more. Someone said Mr. Jeffrey has something that I'm just going to read for the first time here. They did a good Cooks Illustrated did a good olive oil comparison a few years ago. That's a lot of noise.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cooks Illustrated did a good olive oil comparison a few years ago and claimed that single origin was best. However, distance from destination was super important, getting from Italy versus US, etc. And then he also follows up. I don't know. Do you have a comment on that?
I only wanted to comment that we haven't even touched yet this whole olive oil controversy thing, where like so much of the olive oil sold in grocery stores supposedly is, I don't know if counterfeit is the word, but it's not actually olive oil or not 100% olive oil.
Yeah.
And it may say some classification like virgin or extra virgin, but it actually might not be that. So that's a whole different rabbit hole to go down, but you can Google that. You can find, lists of brands that supposedly are good. Some of them have little QR codes on them that you can scan in the store and like actually see that oil's, lot number or whatever. And I guess that can give you more confidence. But that's just a whole other huge thing. And so that could be one of the reasons. I don't know if Cooks Illustrated is getting into that, but that could be one of the reasons they found these differing qualities when it comes from lots of different places, because then you lose the provenance. You don't know where it came from. Certainly then the odds of counterfeit goes up, I would think.
Yeah. Yep. And then he says rapeseed is different from grapeseed. They called rapeseed canola oil because of the name. Rapeseed is not nice. So canola oil stands for Canada oil low acid.
I never knew that. Interesting.
It's GMO, so people take issue with that, but it's great.
It's great, he says the Canadian, that this oil that is called Canadian oil is great. I never knew that. I always thought canola must be some kind of plant or something. I never knew that it was just a combination of stuff. Interesting. Well, Mr. Jeffrey is a chef, so he knows a lot about some of these food ingredients that we don't know. Okay, good. So that's probably enough. Let's move on. Yeah, I mean, we can just end it there, Doug. I don't think we need to go into one more, especially considering the noise going on in my house. And we're trying to keep these shows to 45 minutes. That's really what we want to do. As tempting as it might be to get into 5 daily habits that help fast track muscle growth as you age from Eat This, Not That.
We'll save it.
There's
a good one. There's one good one in there that I really like.
Is it eat casein before bed?
I'm not going to, no spoilers, Matt. No spoilers. We're going to do it tomorrow.
Okay. You're right. We'll save that one for tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get some other ones too. We could talk about what happens if you don't drink water. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, good. Well, yeah, I think this should be a good week. Tomorrow I will not have the dog with me, but the next day after that, when the show happens, we should have the dog in our custody by then. Maybe she'll even have a name. Right now her name is something not that good. Daffodil, I think. And I thought we're not going to keep that name. I think the shelter just gave her that name, so it's like a very short. Well, I thought Daphne could be good.
Daphne,
right?
Yeah.
That's and even Daffy, but it's obviously more of a boy's name, I think.
Yo, Daff.
Daft Punk. You know that?
Daft Punk. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, I think she's probably had the nickname for about 2 days since the shelter found her.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we can probably get away from it without too much trauma to the dog. So anyway, I'll have her to show you in a few days, hopefully. Otherwise, not that much. I hope everyone's week is good. I have a good feeling about this week, Doug. I just have a good vibe. You know what? It might be the reason I slept for about 9.5 hours last night. I've started
even with the time change.
Because of the time change. Because the night before, well, partly the night before, my sleep was horrendous. I don't know. I just couldn't sleep. I was in a different bed than my own and just wasn't good. So I woke up very tired, and then the time change did not help at all. So yesterday I was like a zombie, but then got a great sleep last night. I've been using the Oura Ring to try to get get a handle on what's going on with this new, somewhat better sleep I've been having. And it's okay. I mean, it's been mixed. I've noticed my heart rate is higher than it used to be. My resting heart rate. When I was previously using the Oura Ring a lot, I was in the middle of running a lot, and I was doing the CrossFit style workouts. Not doing a lot of long runs, but I was certainly running 3-4 times a week. So I wouldn't be surprised. But then I found out, I looked into this, and that when you're strength training, your heart rate tends to be higher, not compared to running, but just higher than not strength training, because, I mean, you do get some aerobic benefit, but as your body, first of all, is repairing muscle, but also as it has more muscle to support, apparently that takes more blood pump to keep it going.
Oh, interesting.
So it could be that, could be running less, could be all these things. So I found that out. But anyway, I don't know. We're little teaser here. We're talking about doing soon with Complement a 21-day, what do we call it? Dry something challenge, right? Without giving away details. But I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm going to really give that a go because I want to just eliminate alcohol from like my sleep questions when I'm saying, did I sleep well or bad? And like that, it'd just be nice if that was a non-factor. So I could say, at least for 21 days, figure that out. So I don't know if I'm going to do it, how seriously, but I think something like that would be good. Yeah,
definitely. I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into that too. So anyway, we'll talk about more on that later. Yes. Mr. Jeffrey says, "Oh no, the ring drama returns." and I will say this, Matt, if I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here, I'm going to give you an opportunity to prove me wrong. But if I need to have a Discord intervention with the rest of the Plant-Based Morning Show community, I hope that you will take that ring off.
Yeah. This time,
nothing against the Oura Ring, just your experience with the Oura Ring.
You're right. Well, I'm not wearing it now. See that? It's empty right hand.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not wearing it for activity tracking. I'm just staying away from all that. I just wanted to get some insight into the sleep. I don't have the same feeling as I used to. Like yesterday when I woke up after a bad sleep, I didn't even check it. Just did not want to hear how bad it was.
Okay.
I'm just really trying to gather some data here. But I understand the concern. I think people are right to be concerned that I could go down a bad thing. It just always finds its way back into my life. I even tried casting it off once, and I threw it away. And it returned. So, by the way, Rachel here has volunteered, and she was very good when she was on the show when she just joined us. She said to you on Discord, Doug, she's going to the Vegan Women's Summit. And Miyoko is co-running it. Happy to do a post-summit report. I mean, that sounds like a very, very interesting conference, giving the context around Miyoko and this wrongful termination suit where she alleges that she was terminated. Maybe not because she's a woman, but that certainly didn't help her in getting promotions and things, she says. So, and also she's standing up for vegans with this whole, in this whole situation. Whereas we think of Miyoko's now as sort of the bigger corporate entity and Miyoko, the vegan individual. So there's a lot going on there. So I would love to take you up on that offer, Rachel. So please let us know when you do that. When is that? Anyone know when that is? Sure, we can Google that. And then we'll wrap up here. Vegan Women's Summit, May 18th to 20th. So about 2 months away.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, good. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Hope everyone has as good a week as I am imagining this one will be. We didn't talk about the bank failure yesterday or whatever day that was, Friday. Hopefully the week doesn't result in more bank runs and like total chaos, because then I would have predicted wrongly that this would be a good week. So we'll see.
That would be bad. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, sounds good. That's it. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Sounds great. See ya.
Bye.